welcome back to the programme, just coming up on 6:45. Now, I'm joined in studio by Ron Immink from BookBuzz. Morning, Ron.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
We've got a book this week, and the title is just absolutely brilliant. Porn for Bankers by Hans Smeet.
Yes.
You've got me sold on the title anyway.
Well, I think I met Hans when I was in Amsterdam this weekend, and I think that was the whole idea. Now, it's slight... okay, so it gets your attention. That's not what the book is about. The title is to get the attention, and it's just not for bankers, but what he says is that the developments in porn are something every company should watch. And the way this all started is that he has an office in Amsterdam, which is in the Jordaan, which is sort of on the right side of the central station, and that used to be filled with porn shops. And he sort of realized, when he, as every day he would walk to work, that the porn shops were starting to disappear. And he went, that's interesting. And he was also an advisor and consultant to a lot of banks. So he started to do some research. And that's how the book was written. And the book is written in a wonderful style because it's sort of like a conversation letter. So he starts with Dear John. And that's the way he writes the book. And it's sort of a conversation between himself and a banker at sort of executive level. And so the question is, what can you learn from porn? Because porn is very progressive. So are, if you want to watch innovation, it's probably gaming and toys that you want to look at. So the thing you can learn from porn is that you need to embrace the digital revolution. Nothing new with that. And then he goes into loads and loads of examples on how to do that.
Is his advice purely for the banking industry, or does it apply to other sectors?
No, absolutely not. It applies to any type of complex service, but particularly in the financial sector. Now, he doesn't mince his words, but he refers to bankers as caveman in pinstripes, which is this whole idea is that you would think that because banking is about managing live events, and then what financial consequences that have. You buy a house, you get a baby, you buy a bike, you buy a car. Those are all live events, and how do you manage that financially? So you would think that bankers would be very romantic and that they would be working with you for a whole lot because they have a lifelong relationship. Not at all. The way they think is like caveman. They get out of the cave, hit you on the head with a product, bring you back into the cave, and that's it. No smoozing, nothing.
Now, he also has advice for Apple, which, of course, it's in the news this morning with the death of Steve Jobs.
Yes, that is extremely unfortunate because I think if there's somebody that has made an incredible impact on nearly anybody's life, it's Steve Jobs. So the great thing about this book is because we talk about how digital impacts on business. This guy makes it abundantly clear how it's going to impact. So he uses, if a bank was Apple, or Apple, let me turn it around. If Apple was a bank, what would happen? And if you were a banker and you read that, you get really, really scared because Apple could do it in a flash. And what he would say is that Apple Bank, or he calls it iBank, would simply develop apps around live events. Imagine an iTunes store with financial products. Very easily done.
Yeah, if you wanted a credit card or if you wanted a personal loan or an overdraft. Yeah.
Anything.
What advice, if IKEA was a bank? I mean, surely IKEA doesn't need any advice.
No, it turns around. So if you're a banker and you want it, because he thinks retail is, the way banks are organizing retail is completely out of date. So one of the good examples is to look at IKEA. Now, IKEA took scary out of product, process, and price. So they made their whole sales process extremely transparent. They have a hugely standardized approach. But what is interesting is they have one shop on 2.2 million customers. So they have this really big stores, and they have a very standardized approach. And they have moved from from trying to sell to helping to buy. And he refers to that as the trustworthy uncle. So IKEA is a trusted brand. You'd be happy to give them 10,000 euros for the kitchen. You will not be that happy to give a bank 10,000 euros.
So the advice for financial services is go online, but also treat your customers with a bit of respect.
Yes, he talks about trust. Become a trusted brand, and that's where banks have difficulties. That's where a lot of financial services have difficulties, and I think a lot of big corporates have difficulties.
Well, the book is Porn for Bankers, What Bankers Can Learn from Porn by Hans Smith. The title does sell it all. I can imagine that one flying off the shelves, perhaps for the wrong reasons. Ron Immink from BookBuzz, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Well, yesterday was another turbulent